Welcome to Pool Stories, where I bring my books to life while floating in my pool, one chapter per video. In today's splash-tastic episode, I'm reading Chapter 1 of Monster Stalkers. This tale of escaped entities and tabloid writers in over their heads was first penned under my alter ego, Kelli Wieland. Grab your floaties and join me for the adventure. Headline: Alien Vampires Build the Pyramids. From the desk of Fred Tabbitt, Editor-in-Chief, NY in the Know. Great article, but it needs just a little tweak. Lose the boring part about the pharaoh and add in some alien overlords creating an undead workforce to build the pyramids. Fred. Chapter 1. The bar was a dive, but the drinks were half price during the ceremony, and the award came with a gift certificate for a turkey, which seemed appropriate, considering that Kit wrote for NY in the Know, the biggest supermarket tabloid in New York City. Her boss, Fred, or as everyone else at the paper liked to call him, Freaky Fred, was carrying out his role as master of ceremonies dressed as a zombie. He ripped open the envelope and actually squealed with delight, as if he'd been blissfully unaware of its contents. And the award for the best use of the word probe in an article or news feature goes to Kit Kasprick for her heartwarming story, Girl Takes Ghost to Prom, Gets Pregnant. There was a bit of scattered applause from the dozen or so tables jammed together, and a couple of her colleagues gave Kit the finger as she worked her way over to the stage. She adjusted the mask that covered the upper half of her face, smiled, and returned the sentiment. About half the group and their spouses and/or significant others were playing along with the annual theme, dressed as your favorite oddity from the paper's archives. But the rest were happy just to nurse their drinks and wait to see if they or their loved one lucked into a free bird. Kit climbed onto the stage, grabbed the ends of her cape, and did a quick twirl before she reached for her award, and zagged as her boss and his puckering lips zigged. He almost reached his target, but her elbow kept his face at a safe distance. He finally settled for draping an arm covered in realistic peeling flesh across her shoulders. "Which one are you?" he asked, eyeing her pink leotard and yellow tights. Mexican wrestlers had been featured in 8 stories in just the last month. They were a popular topic. "Wrestler by night?" Kit started. "Senator by day," her boss finished. "Nice. Take off the mask for the photo." "No," Kit said, as she tucked her coupon for the free turkey into her bra and eyed her trophy, which was 4 typed lines of text displayed in a cheap acrylic frame. "Excellence in reporting. NY in the Know. Everyday news for the everyday folks. Jane Kane." Good. They'd used her pen name, despite Fred's continued threats to out her. One of these days, she was going to be a real journalist at a real news organization, and she didn't want anybody to be able to connect her back to the ridiculous drivel she churned out 5 days a week for the last 6 years. It paid the rent, but it made her nuts. "Turn it around." The photographer, a young guy with more muscles than brain cells, circled a finger in the air, and Kit caught herself wondering what he might look like naked. He was new at the paper and had spent the entire night trying to chat her up. Each opening line had been his own play on the word probe. None had been very funny, but an evening with him didn't have to involve chit-chat. "Let's give it up for this little lady." Fred guided her off stage with a hand firmly planted on her ass, which made her move faster than usual. She waved her trophy at the tables, grabbed her purse off the back of a chair, and returned a hand gesture or two as she headed for the back of the room. When she reached the bar, she climbed onto a stool, and the bartender slid 2 cocktails her way. Kit lifted the glass on the right and gently swished the reddish-orange liquid that made up her drink of choice. A blood and sand. Scotch, sweet vermouth, cherry liqueur, orange juice, and, when consumed in multiples of 3, an overwhelming sense of optimism that her days as a hack writer were coming to an end. Soon, one of the legit newspapers out there was going to realize just how talented she was, right? Back on stage, her boss was holding up another envelope. "Okay," he yelled into his mic. "Let's move to the award for best use of a public toilet in a psychic vision." "Can you fix my zipper?" Kit felt a hand on her shoulder and spun her chair to look at her best friend in tabloid hell. "Where have you been?" "You know Billy in accounting." "Seriously?" Bibi shrugged. "Seemed like a waste not to. Sorry I missed your award. Congrats. Can you fix me?" she asked, tapping the back of her neck. Kit circled a finger in the air and then tugged up the zipper on her friend's sequined gown. I still can't believe you came as her. Last year, Phoebe had recreated a sorority girl's UFO experience. Tonight, she was channeling the perp walk photo of a woman later convicted of serving her dead husband to the 50 guests attending her divorce party. Phoebe turned around and smoothed her dress, adjusting her ex-wife of the year sash. And then she held out a hand, palm up, as if she was holding a plate, and offered Kit a, yeah, I did it, and I'll do it again grin. Care for more foie gras? Oh, you're grossing me out. Up on the stage, their boss waved his arms in the air. And that's our final award for the night, he announced. So, last call. Kit and Phoebe turned in horror as chairs scraped across the linoleum floor and a couple dozen bored souls leaped to their feet to make a mad dash for the bar. Get the hell outta? Kit asked. Phoebe didn't need to reply. She got in a healthy gulp of her drink, grabbed the trophy, and headed for the back door. Kit dashed after her. For once, can we skip this part? You know the tradition. What if some weirdo is lurking out there? If I die, I'm coming back to haunt you. Perfect, Phoebe said. It'll make a great article. Kit followed her best friend out into the alley and walked into two elves in the middle of a pissing contest. Thanks for joining me on Pool Stories. Don't miss another exciting episode. Subscribe right now. See you next time.